Welcome to the Manology Project podcast. I am your host, Quentin Crumby, and on this channel, we're going to be discussing what true manhood looks like as we understand our value, our identity, and our purpose as men using godly principles. Now, let's get to it.
Past 4 weeks now, and we get on that court is all business. So that's what I love about the staff. We know when to have fun and when not to have fun, and when it's business. So I'm in Nebraska right now. Enjoying the weather. Is hot, and
Sure it is.
it's very hot here. But I'm just here, just me and my dog, and that's it.
You got the dog there, dude? The same little.
Same Kodo, man. The
Oh my
Sheltie.
God, dude! You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I got him. He can't go. Hey, listen, wherever I'm at, he's there. So
that is crazy.
You gotta
taking
go.
it right after your dad, man.
Hey, listen.
Dog lovers, man.
I've always had dogs in the household ever since I was a young kid. So I don't think I can go without having a dog.
That is so crazy, man. All right, well, let's just jump right into this process. So take us back. So I know you graduated from Howard University. You get into Howard on the basketball team. You're not the superstar of the team, but you gradually worked your way into more playing time and actually being able to get some real feel of basketball to where senior year, then you really kind of knocked it out of the park to set yourself up to go overseas. Kind of take, because I know a lot of young guys right now, basketball or football, any sports, man, is they're trying to use these as an awesome way to be able to get free college. And I'm all about getting the free money. But what we want to do is kind of let them know that just getting there is not the easy part. It's the stick and stay, right? So,
Right.
So kind of let's walk us through, Howard University, and then how did that process work, and then on to being able to make it over to getting that first sign and deal over in overseas.
Before I got to Howard University, it was almost a long shot even getting to Howard University. I mean, coming out of Belleville High School, kind of underrated school, overlooked school in the suburbs, kind of the country at that time. I played with some great basketball players, to name a few: Martin Smarko, James Holmes, a lot of these guys, Alex Davenport, Tyler Jones, Rob. Remember Rob last name? Yeah. So all these guys, they currently played overseas or retired right now, but we were just overlooked. And we were a team that we were tough-nosed. We played defense, and we got after it. And we just gelled. And when you have a group of guys like that gel and are one, we start winning a lot of games and start creating a lot of noise for ourselves.
Okay.
And that senior year, before that senior year happened, I think me personally, I just put the work in. That just comes from my background. My mom, she's a grinder. She wakes up early, 4 o'clock to this day to go to work, and I'm watching her. And my dad, he's a grinder. And my grandma, and the list goes on. Everybody just works. They don't complain. They just work. And that summer, I just put in the time. I put in the time because I wanted to go to college. And I tell people all the time, I think I used to tell you this, I didn't have a scholarship going into my senior year. I didn't. I played on Team Michigan. I played on the family. I played on these top AU teams, and I didn't get the looks like that. But I stuck with the process. With the process. I continued to grind. My dad was on me tough. I mean, we was in the gym 2, 3, 4 times a day. And that year, just to fast forward, that year I kind of had, I guess you want to say, a breakout season. We played well. We ended up going to the quarterfinals. I believe it was the quarterfinals, because that previous year we went to the Final Four and we played in the Breslin, and that was my junior year. The next year we went to the quarterfinals and we lost to Murray Wright. That day still haunts me to this day. So it still haunts me. But those guys on that team, they push me. My coaching staff, they push me. Like I said, my dad, my family, my mom, everybody just pushed me to be the best I can be. And I remember playing at Ypsi. I was playing at Ypsi High. It was a away game. And my dad used to make the DVDs of my games. He used to make DVDs, and he would send them out in the mail. And assistant coach Aki Collins, he got a hold of it and told the head coach Frankie Allen at the time about me, and they end up coming to that game. And I just had they end up coming to that game, and I had a great game. And they offered me on the spot after that game. And I tell people it only takes one time, one good game.
That is like, okay, we gotta stop right here.
Go ahead.
Because see, the thing is that these kids are grinding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're grinding for this opportunity. They're trying to build up all this noise.
Right.
And really need to understand that it is really you can grind all your life. One kid could show up that day and have a game of his lifetime and get a Scully, and you don't even get a Scully. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this is what I'm talking about, the process on, and I'm not using it to say that, hey, kids, you don't have to grind all day. No, still grind. I tell my son, you need to be shooting 500 shots a day. Like,
Absolutely.
But the thing is that, but the process behind always being ready. So that's what I took away, like all the years that we've been together. That was probably like one of your biggest things, was always be ready. Like, you have to be ready. If you're not ready, then there's no need for you to step on the court. And so being ready was always your response to any type of anything that anybody would say, is that either you weren't ready or you were ready. So, and I'm bringing this up because then kind of as dads, so you're talking to like people like me who has a son that plays basketball. So kind of give us some insight on the relationship that you and your dad had. Now, I met your dad. Your dad is hardcore, right? He's my guy. Like, he's hardcore, drill down, old school ashy hand type dude, right? It's like, what I'm saying? Like,
that's real.
Real talk. This dude's like, flip the tires in the dirt, the mud, the rain, the snow. I don't care what it is. If you told me you're trying to make it, then we gonna make it. So kind of give people the insight on you. And on top of that, you and your dad have a great relationship. So kind of drill us in or take us into that, like how is that relationship built and strengthened over those hardcore years when I know he was riding you like crazy?
Well, I look at it like this. I and this may come off the wrong way. My parents were the producers. They was behind the scenes, right? And I was, I guess I was the backup singer, or you can call it the lead singer. You know what I'm saying? But they were the ones that they molded me, right? They made me who I am today. So I take no credit for that. I'll tell people, what you know what you're taught. Whatever your parents teach you, that's who you're gonna become. So
that's good.
I'm a firm believer in that. It's just my background, and not just mom and dad. It was my grandparents. They were hardcore as well. But just to go to my dad, if some of the stuff that he did with me, if kids would have saw that now, they would have thought it was abuse.
Listen,
and that's real.
When he was talking to me about it, I thought, holy smoke, that's when he would come to those practices and watch the kids be all whiny and
oh man,
it drove him crazy.
Well, you gotta understand, he's militant, he's military guy. It's A, B, and C. And that's the same thing. That's why him and my mom connect, because don't get it twisted. My dad was tough, but my mom might have been tougher. You know what I'm saying? My mom she don't play to this day. Some of the decisions that I make, I'm afraid to make them because I'm thinking about what my mama gonna say.
Your mom was always smiling, dude. She was
and that's sometimes what I get. I get that from her, because it sounds bad, I'll be real, I'll smile in your face, but when we get on that court, I'm trying to take your head off. And I got that from her. So it's kind of like it is a balance. Yeah. But my dad, like you said, flipping tires and duck walks from one stop sign to another, and he'll tell you to do it again because he felt like it wasn't right, and he'll try to break you until he got you to the point where you did cry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He just wanted to test you to see if I can break you down, no coach is ever going to be able to get to you. You know what I'm saying? No coach is ever going to put you through stuff that I'm going to put you through. So you know, I took those things, and you know, when I'm in tough situations, I always go back to those days when I was outside in the cold shooting, and you know, I told my dad I would lie and say, yeah, I did make 20 in the snow, and he knew I didn't make 20 in the snow. You know what I mean? My hands is freezing, and I
Right.
want to cry, just trying to think of excuses. But you know, he was tough, man. He was tough, and you know, him and my mom would put me around people that were just as tough as he was. So my AAU coaches were tough, you know.
Yeah.
And I say it again: if some of these, if these kids were with some of my AAU coaches, they wouldn't make it.
I know, dude.
It was tough, man.
Yeah. And it was so funny. Me and Q was little Q was reminiscing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so we laughed about this because so Q was like this timid kid.
Right.
Uh uh basketball IQ very high. Actually understood the game, could dribble all this good stuff, but he just was very timid. Like
Mm-hmm.
very, very timid. Like, you know, you say boo, this dude is like moving out the way. And we both laughed because, and I don't even know if you remember, but that day when you had worked him out, and then at the end of all the workouts, you had that dude run with the sandbag. Do you remember that? We were outside.
Yeah.
And that dude started crying. And I remember you coming in, and that dude was out there crying, and you was like, dude, he crying, man. You want me to stop? And I was like, literally instantly, I kind of had your dad's mentality, which is, if this dude can get past this one sector, right? Like if he can make it past this, then it'll show me that you have endurance to be able to play the game. Because no one is really gonna, you know, your dad is probably I'm truthful, right? And then I was lucky to be able to find somebody like you who was actually very truthful and honest about the skill set. So I wasn't coming in there talking about Q as some phenom. No, Q worked extremely hard to become a good basketball player. And we're talking extremely, because he wasn't athletic. He didn't have any of that. And I think that was a pivotal moment for him, because we asked him like, yo, dude, do you want to stop?
Yeah, we did.
And he looked at us with tears in his eyes and said, no,
I'm gonna keep going.
I'm gonna keep going. And this dude finished the game, finished the workout, cried all the way into the car, wiped his tears off, got his water. We had a long talk all the way home. And I'm like, dude, I can't believe that you did that. And he was like, well, I'm not gonna never give up. Like, I learned right there that this dude was actually way more tougher than he had a timid exterior, but this dude heart was as tough as nails. And you haven't seen him play in a while, and I wish you were here, because you would actually be very proud of his extreme toughness.
I believe you.
I mean, he is like really tough. I mean, the dude is like 5'7", and he probably makes more baskets laying the ball up on the rim. And I got people who are watching who can contest that. This dude goes to the basket, and he goes to the basket to this day because of the part 2, which is the what was the thing he used to slap the kids with?
The pads. You know?
Dude, we laughed. This was probably about 2 weeks ago. We laughed about that dude because he was like, Dad, I cannot believe that I even survived Coach Darryl slapping me with those pads. But we're trying. And I'm gonna tell you what, the pads probably was tougher than the sandbag, right? I was cringing like, this dude is killing my son. And it's like, and I mean, some dads was getting pissed off. I was like, yo, I don't know about this and blah, blah, blah. But it was like, at the end of it, this dude was still like, yo, I got practice day at 5, Dad. I'm like, you going back. Like, this is like, he didn't want to, then eventually he didn't want to miss practice. Like, he did not want to miss practice, even though he know he was going to get killed in practice.
Well, you know where some of that comes from is that, you know, I put myself in Q's situation when you don't want to quit with your dad around. Like, that's that's the biggest no-no. Like,
you're right.
You don't want to let your dad down. Now, maybe you might get, slide by with your mom, because mom, that's her baby and this, that, and the third. But, when my dad would smack me with them pads on that floor, and Rob would tell you, man, we used to go to the gym. My dad be singing in the car, having a great time. And as soon as we get to the gym, it was like everything just switched. Like, his whole face just switched.
Oh.
And he bringing out pads and cones, and we like, man, what's about to happen? He'll literally have us dribbling with our left hand at one end, dribble with our left hand back, and he'd just knock us out the way. And he'd just be yelling, if y'all can go through this,
Right.
y'all gonna be able to go. And we, by season time, it was kind of like anybody touched us, it was like,
yeah,
Mr. Hudson.
yeah.
You know, and my dad, that was a time when he was on them weights hard and all that. I mean, he was brolic, man. So,
yeah, he's a big guy.
A lot of, the relationship, I built that relationship with my dad. Like, that's my guy. My mom, that's my lady. My dad is like, he's anything that happens to me, I'm calling him, man. I'm calling him. I'm asking him first. Like, Dad, what you think? What you think? But that was the relationship we built over time. I mean, my dad can do overtime at work, and he'll be the first one up outside, and we just doing jumps. He spent that time. Yeah. So anybody that's out there, that has a son, just from my experience,
yeah,
my dad took the time, my mom took the time, my grandma took the time, even when they were dead tired and didn't want to do it. If that was my dream, if that was my sister's dream, they were going to do whatever they could to make that happen. Yeah. So I built that trust. I knew my parents was going to have me from day one, and they still got me. So that's just where it was at.
Yeah. And that's the part I liked about the whole process. We're going to dive in. I like that conversation because it takes us right into, because you use the word for your, for Belleville School basketball team was overlooked. And I remember you were training for a few years and then you were like, yo, Q, I think I'm going to start the AAU up. And I'm like, well, you had a group of, you had a very dedicated, driven set of kids. I think we were probably about like 13 or 14 deep. And I say that because I was like literally right with the beginning. So, and then you started it up, man. And the name of that first AAU team was Team Overlooked. And it was hilarious because I remember the first year when you had the tryouts, and we dang near filled up that other side of Romulus Rec. Yeah. And we were all blown away like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen, man.
Dude, we had like 13 or 14 kids, and then all of a sudden, all of these kids show up to be part of Team Overlook. Right. I like what that whole team stood for. Every kid that was on that team was an overlooked kid. Like, nobody was really pushing for him. Nobody was like, yo, this dude is going to be this guy's going to be that. But everybody, if you go follow majority of the kids that Daryl had trained or coached or whatever, those kids are having a great time playing basketball.
Yep.
I mean, look at Imani. I mean, he was a part of the Daryl Hudson training and development, right along with another great father, Elgin, Bates. Big shout out to Bates over there, but he's another dad that I looked at, man, up close and far away. Like, that is the time you have to spend with your son. And that guy, your sons are only around, man, for so long before they pull a move like you, right out there at Jackson. Then, So my thing is that kind of walk us through the AAU process. Like, really, how did that start? Because we were strong with AAU, and then I kind of saw your mind take a shift, and then it started going this way, but your mind was shifting because you had another goal in mind. And this is not a bad thing. Like, I don't want nobody thinking that, oh man, I got played or this. But this dude had a plan from the beginning, and that's why I have him on the show, because the process was real to go from, a college student that wasn't like the best of best, but to have a dream and a process, to have parents that backed you 1,000%, built your name up around development, because that's where we're going now. This guy became one of the top skill development trainers in Michigan, and I'm sure it was across, other states, but I know here in Michigan, you were rocking out. And I know before the AAU went down, you were all the way in Cali doing stuff. I remember, and that's when I saw that shift, is that this dude, people are starting to spot this guy for that hard work. Like, the process that you put in all your life, that hard work started showing. And so it was almost inevitable that you wasn't going to be able to stay here, because people wanted you to bring that mindset to their kids. Right. And so let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about U of M. I mean, that's where it kicked off. Like it
So
really kicked off with U of M. And how did that all come about? And then take us from U of M right on into Jackson.
okay. So the first part, obviously I was in the skill development, and that's my passion. I love, I don't want to use the word training. I mean, the training, everybody's a trainer nowadays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just love inspiring and coaching young men and young women. And I got into that. And I remember going my last year, I believe I was in Luxembourg. I was playing. And one of my kids, Cody Freeman, I don't know if you remember Cody.
I do remember Cody.
He was a point guard of mine, kind of a little hefty little kid, can play, very crafty. And I remember him, he used to call my, like, Skype. I think Skype was going on at the time. And he would call me and be like, listen, my coaches aren't helping me trying to get to college. And I used to just be at home just like, what? Like, these kids can play. Like, I don't care about Division I, Division II.
Right.
I just want you to go to school.
Right.
It's our job as coaches. A lot of coaches use these kids where, we're supposed to be helping them out. That's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's thinking about their own agenda and what they're trying to accomplish. But it's about, if you're going to be a coach, if you're going to skill develop, whatever you're going to do, make sure it's about the kids first and foremost. That's it, right? So when I came back, that's when you said, my mind started going in a different way. I was like, well, you know what? I think I'm going to give up playing basketball.
Because that is what happened.
Yep. Yeah, the business side of the basketball was kind of over. I was already in my 10th year, and I was kind of like, you know what? Let's try to do something different. So I had to take that jump, had to leap. Like, I was kind of caught in between, like, I'm giving up basketball at the age of 30. I think it might be 29.
Right.
I'm still in my prime, but my passion and my heart kept telling me to help these kids. So that's when I started the Team Overlook team. And I knew the kids were talented, but they weren't the kids that everybody in the state wanted. They didn't.
Right.
But these kids worked extremely, extremely, extremely hard.
Right.
And I felt like, I think one of my gifts that I have is to inspire kids. Yes, I'm tough on you. Yes, I'm going to get in your butt. But at the same time, every kid can say that Coach Hudson loved them. Right. You know what I'm saying? Coach Hudson
they played hard. Listen,
they played hard, man.
They played hard. That was like probably one of my biggest things, is that it was amazing that you could have all these coaches lined up to do a job. But those kids played hard for you.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there's a lot of awesome, great coaches out there that kids play. Like, if you have a group of kids that play hard, man, you're a fantastic coach. Like, I hate to say it, I know the kids are talented, I know that, but do you know how hard it is to inspire kids to go out there and leave everything on the line, man? It takes a lot, and I do take my hat off that the kids were able to play. Literally, I watched you come and show up on a scene. Like, listen, on a scene, we down by 20. You show up on the scene, done with your game, and you would come in, take the pad, call a timeout right in the middle of the game. Just timeout. Everybody come here, and it will be a lot of yelling and a lot of help us Jesus.
Well, kids, this is the thing. Kids, as adults, sometimes we think kids are fools. They're not fools, man.
They're not.
They're very, very smart. So if a kid feel like they can slide and they can get away with something, they're gonna do it, but they don't realize the consequences that's occurring. Like, which means I'm down by 20 because you want to take a shortcut. Right. So it wasn't. Man, there's plenty of coaches that's way better than I am as far as the X and O's. I'm still learning to this day, but what I didn't accept was, you're not going to cheat, and you're going to go hard every minute, every possession. I don't care what it is. You're going to go hard.
Right.
And if you're not going to go hard,
you're sitting down, man.
You're going to sit. You're going to sit. And I was all about, me personally, it was about giving chances. I didn't care about winning no games. Yeah. People don't understand that. I don't care about first place. I don't care about second place. None of that means anything. As long as these kids are understanding what it's going to take to be successful in life. Yeah. That's what it's about. Right. And when they know that, when kids know that you care, they're willing to go through a wall for you, man. They'll go through a wall for you. I had kids that couldn't even play on the team. You know that. I had kids that couldn't even hoop.
Couldn't even do it.
they'll get a stop on that court. They'll get a key stop. You
They
know,
would,
yeah, I used to have players come to me all the time like, Coach, why is he on the floor? Because he understands he knows his limitations. And then you're going to love him when he do something that you need, that you don't really want to do. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, it was all about, you know, the discipline part, man. And just being accountable. You got to be accountable when you're out here. Like, I won first place trophies at what Team Overlooked, and ask me where those trophies are right now.
Right. I mean, I think you said some key things, though, when you're talking about going through this process. You're really talking about going through a process where the discipline, you know, I remember you screaming out consistency to where you would run the play. I mean, I remember practices where they would run the play like all day. And if they didn't even run the play, then they ran all day. I see some of these coaches now that even at Q kind of went, you know, after you left and then Q had to go around, dude, it was like, it was hard for me to be with an AAU team because I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing here. Like, you got freelancers, I mean, literally, dude, like, if your whole program is about guys who are just going to freelance, then it's going to be hard. Like, Q couldn't even operate in it. Like, he was like, Dad, I can't do it because the structure, the discipline, all of that just was not there. And so it literally he actually became like a worse player. Like he said, and listen, this was a crazy thing for me to watch my own son. I'm like, dude, you're like way better than this. But because that dynamic of what was put in him from 8 years old. So, you know, you take a kid that's from 8 years old to 13 or 14 with nothing but discipline, consistency, hard work, getting beat down, push, hard, push. And then you go somewhere where they let the freelancers get away with murder. Then you're looking like, so, man, dude, I'm off the court, but this dude get to do, you know what I'm saying? So you start, and when you come from a team to where you said everybody, like, I don't think I've ever seen you not.
Well, those kids don't make those freelancers. Those freelancers don't make it in life, and that's just the truth. I mean, you can be extremely good. It's kind of cliche to say you could be extremely good, and these AAU coaches, and it's not every AAU coach. It's just coaches in general. I mean, everybody want the best players, right?
Right.
And when you come across a kid that's extremely talented, I mean, they let some of these kids get away with things, which sometimes, you know, the good players, they kind of do get away, but you're not going to get away with doing the wrong thing.
That's the whole.
You're not going to get away with doing the wrong thing.
You can't get away with doing the wrong thing.
You're not going to get away doing the wrong thing. Now, you may be, as a good player, you may be able to take more shots.
Yes.
You may be able to go one-on-one a couple times. Just be real. But when it comes to, like, the core values of respecting your teammates and being on time and being disciplined, I mean, that falls in line with everybody. And as a coach, if you're not consistent, if you're changing the play over and over and over because it's not working, and Monday you want to run flex, and Tuesday you want to run dribble drive, and then you want to run horns on Wednesday, that shows the kids right there. Kids, like I said, kids are smart. He don't know what he's doing, and he's not consistent. So what do? Whatever. They ain't gonna say it.
I know.
But in their mind, they're gonna be like, well.
He doesn't have that structure or that discipline that it takes. And listen, and this is the thing, when you're dealing with boys, and like I said, this show is all about taking our young men and giving them the focus so that they can be able to create this value and this identity and this purpose in their life. And so, you know, when you got Q at 8 years old, man, that was between 8 and 13, man, that's all identity. Like, that's all identity that leaked over into his value of what he brought to the team. Like, what value do I bring? And unfortunately, this is what I try to tell Coach. I think, man, you had this sit down talk when I first got Q on the team is that as a father, dude, I'm extending you, my son, and I'm extending this for you to actually be an extension of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be an extension of the fathers who want the best for their kids. So if you're a coach, you have got to have, like you said that before, which is have that right attitude where, I got to actually kind of get past making $1,000 or $2,000. Like, I can't get focused on that because that'll take me off of having the right mentality to actually build these kids. Because, I mean, I can go down a whole list of kids who are that came under the Team Overlook program. I mean, Shay and them out there out at Pioneer. I mean, Chris, Pioneer. I mean, Pioneer is literally one of the top high school basketball teams. They're in the top 10. You got Imani out there. I mean, you got a lot of these guys out here who came from up under that umbrella who are out here doing their thing. I mean, Q is over at Southfield Christian. I mean, there's people who came out of a lot of these different things, man, that actually that you were able to put your imprint on. I appreciate you being able to put that imprint on a lot of those young guys.
Well, if you're not giving to the youth or the generation behind you, what are you doing?
Right.
Like I say that with a serious face. Like everybody, I was reading this Kobe book, and it was a quote. He was saying that everybody was Schmeagles, like off Lord of the Rings. Everybody want to keep stuff to themselves. Like, like, what are you doing? Like, everybody's purpose on this earth is obviously to learn, be mentored, but you got to give, man. You got to give. Like all the stuff that my dad taught me. You know, and the coaches that I learned from and mentors that so much knowledge, like I'm not going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to play forever. So I always wanted to give it to these kids because I don't never want them to say, man, coach didn't give it to me. Even if they never asked, I was going to give it.
Yes, you did. You're right.
If you didn't ask, I'm going to get it. Like I'm going to go overtime. I don't believe in hour sessions. You know this, like,
yeah,
you're going to train from 5 to 6. No. If I feel like we need to go from 5 to 7, then we're going to go 7. And that next parent, she got to understand, or he got to understand. And they did.
They did.
Because they knew I was going to do the same thing for everybody. So you got to be willing to give, man. Like you can't, you got to give the knowledge, man. And that's why I commend you for having this show, because you pouring knowledge into, you know, I hate to say it, the parents need it, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, well, I think as fathers, I think we need to hear coaches give us their point of view of how they view the kids. What are you really expecting out of kids? Because I'm gonna tell you what, you know, I see on Twitter and stuff, coaches are always making all kind of comments. You know, if your son ain't doing this, he ain't doing that, he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that. It's like, I hear you, right? But you know, the best coach to me is a coach that could take a kid who has no athleticism, who's been timid all his life, and then turn that dude into a beast. Like now you're talking about being a coach. You're not really that great of a coach if all your players are studs. If everybody on your team is a stud, then who are you developing? Like, can you actually develop a player and turn them into a beast? But
that takes time.
Listen.
Time is.
You have to be a giver.
You got to be a giver, man.
I don't care what anybody say. Listen, you have to be a giver, and and you have to do and be a coach from your heart. To take on a couple of projects every year. I'm not saying that your whole team has got to be. I mean, you're a brave young man to take, 10 guys who had, no clue of what they were doing, and then start transforming these. I mean, Q is a primetime 3-point shooter because basically you drilled this dude.
Well, you got to know
for 7 years.
That's the thing. Like when it comes to coaching, it's not, the drawing on a board and, skill development. You really have to pay attention to the kid before you even put a basketball in their hands or even start talking basketball. You got to understand the kid. You understand where they come from. You got to understand what makes them tick, what throws them off the ledge. Like I knew I can get on Q. Why? Because I pay attention to who his parents are.
Right.
His dad get on him, pull him to the side and grab him up by his shirt. And that. So I know, okay, he has that in his household. I may not be able to do that with another kid.
Right.
I may not be able to do that. So you have to know what makes a kid tick. And that's not just basketball. That's in business or whatever. That's everywhere. That's global. So you really have to pay attention. Everybody wants to focus on, I'm going to get this kid because he's good and I'm going to get that. No, I actually feel like it's better to take, that average kid. You hear Eric Thomas say it all the time, average skill, phenomenal will.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I want that kid that's average, that his will is so ridiculous that
Right.
you have to give him a scholarship.
Right.
You
That's
gotta you gotta put him on the scouting report.
you have to put
You
him
got
on
no
there.
choice. You
I
got
mean,
no choice.
look at your boy Morant coming out of Murray.
Nobody even knew.
Listen,
The
nobody
list
knew
goes
him.
on. No.
The thing is this, when they interviewed his dad said pretty much the exact same thing I would hear your dad say, which is, we were up every morning. I practiced with that dude before I went to work. When I got off from work, it was that father-son time. And Morant, he cried like a baby standing next to his dad during the draft day, because basically he just could not believe that dad, like, man, dad, you were right. Like, hard work, you stay in the process, and whether it's you get a scholarship for basketball, you get an academic scholarship, you move on past school, you go to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. It's just having that process of determination, that discipline, that I am not going to give up attitude. And I like that is what you brought to these young men. But then you transitioned over to ladies, which was hilarious, right? Because it was like U of M was like a boys basketball team. So I got it. Like, okay, cool. So what was the transition
All right.
from U of M basketball with the fellas over to Jackson?
All right. So to kind of this, we'll go back a little bit. People don't understand that I didn't really want to be a coach because I was scared. Now, it's the first time I can actually say this. Like, I was afraid to be a coach. Why? Because I kept hearing things about, to be a college coach is politics and is who you know and this, that, and the third. And I remember taking Squirt. Squirt.
Yeah, great,
Yeah, so I was running the hill with Squirt and Coach Foley, one of my old AAU coaches. You probably know who Coach Foley is. He played at Belleville. But Coach Foley is a mentor of mine, always gave me great advice. And he saw me, said, man, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm training. Like, what you think I'm doing?
Sweat.
I'm out here training, man. Like, I'm training. He was like, no, what are you doing? I said, I'm training, Foley. He said, you're not coaching? I said, well, I'm coaching high school because I coach high school basketball.
You sure did. Summit.
And,
yep.
Yeah, I was coaching at Summit. And I said, I just applied at Pioneer. And he was like, dude, with the knowledge that you have, like, you gotta be willing. You gotta try, man. You gotta connect. You gotta start networking. You gotta start networking with people.
Yeah.
But my ego didn't allow me to want to connect and talk to people. Like, I was like, man, I'm not gonna talk to nobody. They gotta come talk to me, like that type of thing. I'm gonna be honest. Like, and I thought about it, and I said, when somebody's right when you slam that door in that car and you just sit there and you be like,
for a minute. Yeah, you ponder.
You be like, man, like the dude, that's why I respected Foley, because he told me the truth.
Right.
So the first thing I did was I'm hitting up Foley and said, man, give me some names. Because I don't like when people tell me you soft, basically. That's what he was telling me. Like,
in other words,
like, you soft, man, and you scary. Like,
right.
And that's not where you come from. Like, come on. So make a long story short, I was just sending out messages. I ended up getting a phone call from the U of M Dearborn coach, Taylor Langley, a guy I respect to this day. He called me and said, listen, he called me. I looked at the phone. I declined it. Like, I don't know no Dearborn number. So he called again. I picked it up. He was like, this is, Coach Taylor Langley. I would like to bring you on. I heard about you. I would like to bring you on staff, but we're not going to be able to pay you. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, there go my ego again. Not going to do it. Call my dad.
Listen, I know what Pop said.
I called my dad. I said, listen, Dad, man. So I got this offer to go coach at U of M Dearborn. First thing he said was, do it. He didn't ask about no money. He didn't ask how much I was getting paid. Right. He said, do it.
Right.
And I was like, Dad, but I ain't getting paid. He said, man, this is the problem. All y'all young boys want to do is it's all about money for y'all. Money. Y'all don't never want to work for nothing. Y'all don't never want to. You got to do things for free. Is this what you love to do? This is what you want to do?
Right.
Sometimes you got to do things for free to get it back on a return.
Yeah, people, this right here, before he even finished, this is the positioning. Like, this is why we're having this conversation and process. How do you position yourself? Now, look at this. This is free work
oh
only to
man,
position yourself. All right, go ahead. I want to
man.
just
So
make sure.
I'm sitting there and I'm at home. I'm like, man, like my dad ain't never been wrong. Mom ain't never been wrong. I can't. I'm really trying to go back and think, have they ever been wrong? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So I called Taylor and Coach Langley back, and I said, listen, I'll take the job. And my dad said, you're going to treat this job just like you treated going to work, just like you treated going overseas. You're going to be the first one there, last one to leave, this, that, and the third. So I put in my time. I was there every practice. And at that time, I was still doing AAU.
Yep.
So I was kind of like all over, no rest, doing scout reports, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And, it worked out, man. It was a blessing because that year it was the first time in school history that University of Michigan Dearborn won a national championship, and we ended up playing in South Dakota. It was the first time ever. We just had an amazing season, and it hasn't been done since, man. And that's how I positioned myself to go to Jackson State. After I left University of Michigan Dearborn, I put in an application at Jackson State, not thinking that I was going to even get a look. It was just luck, I guess. I mean, I put in an application. I was actually the head coach. I was sending her messages on Facebook, like, I want the job. She wouldn't respond. Resend. And finally she responded and she gave me an interview and I ended up getting the job, and that's how I ended up in Jackson. And then we had 2 great years at Jackson. My first year under the new staff, Coach Reed, awesome coach, Tamika Reed. Shout out to her out there. She led the team to the championship her first season.
Yeah, we were following you, dude. I was following.
First season, and then last year we broke records. We were 16-2 in the conference, and the COVID hit. So we don't even know if we probably would have went to the NCAA tournament.
Right.
So it's just again, it just went back to the basics, man. It was about listening to your parents. Putting in that hard work and not being scared. And the key thing in that is you have to position yourself with other people. You have to network. For those out there, nothing is going to be given. Sometimes it's about who you know. I hate to say it, but it's about who you know.
It is.
It really is. But that comes from, you can know people, but if you're not treating people right, that means nothing. It means nothing. It's got to be organic, man. Because your basketball coaching, if y'all want to be coaches out there, it's a small fraternity. Somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows you. So it's all about treating people the right way.
Yeah, and the thing is that I know this ain't Bible study, but the thing is that that's really what God wants us to do. God is like telling us that your name has got to be above any riches. Like you can't sacrifice name, character, integrity for wealth. Like you can't do it, which is what your dad was really teaching you is that, check this out. If you do this for free, you literally make Daryl Hudson a household name, because that coach is going to say, this dude did his job. He did his job like we were paying him. I mean, literally, like that's the name that you want to have on the books. Like you want that on the books, which is, hey, this is a reference. And they call him. It's like, hey, what did Daryl Hudson? The first thing he gonna say is the dude did it for free. Like we don't have that. If you can't pull away from what this man's character is from me telling you that he showed up here every day, never missed a practice, worked hard, one-on-one sessions, blah, 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 and he did it for free, then I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can tell you. I don't need to go and tell you about his work ethic. He did it for free, and he never missed a beat. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
whatever you want to do in life, make sure you're doing something that you love to do. Because if it's something that you love to do, you will do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Again, like I said, it may sound cliche, but I love basketball. I love teaching. So if I have to sacrifice, and I didn't even look at it as a sacrifice, I just wanted to coach at the top level. Like I like to challenge myself. I wanted to coach in high school. I did it all from the beginning. Like I coached freshman basketball in high school.
Right.
And then I ended up being a varsity coach, and I was coached AAU. So I kind of saw all levels. So I was like, you know what? if this is the route I got to take to be a college coach,
right.
I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? I like to
right.
challenge myself because
Right.
I say it like this: coaching your son and those group of boys helped me be a college coach to this day. To me, college coaching is easy because I know how to deal with different personalities,
Exactly.
and it helped
Right.
me.
Right.
You know, and boys really help you because they got egos. They'll
Right.
challenge you now.
You did right.
Sometimes,
Right.
hey, it's been a couple times I had to go in the vault with some of these boys and playing one-on-one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what boys do.
Yeah.
Females is that's a whole different thing. Like women, they listen.
I know.
They're very fundamentally sound. They listen and they want to work. They want to work. I mean, not all of them, but the majority of the ones I've been around, like they want to get out there and try to please and do the right thing, man. So it's a little different. It helped me as a coach.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming around to the end of it, but just kind of fill us in. So this new role that you have now here at University of Nebraska, just kind of give us, you know what I'm saying, what are we looking to see from you for the next year or so here?
Man, hopefully we change the culture here, man. That's the main thing, is not even basketball, man, just changing the mentality. You know, they had a rough couple years, and that's the challenge that Coach Banks, you know, wants to endure. I mean, she wants to come here and, you know, change a program. That's what it's about, man. Like, I'm not going to tell you, you know, we're going to win a championship this year. But what I am going to tell you is that we're going to change the culture, and the girls, they're going to be mentally tougher than what they have been. They're going to have fun. That's one of the most important things. And they're going to learn, man. They're going to learn. And when you have all those qualities and you're accountable as well, nine times out of 10, you end up on the right side. Yeah. So it should be a fun season. Hopefully we have a season.
Right. But hopefully everything kind of
settles. I'm positive that it will. Yeah. But we'll have fun. Coach Banks, shout out to Coach Banks. She's a great coach. Shout out to the organization at University of Nebraska Omaha. They've been nothing but great, first class organization. But we should have fun, man. It's gonna be a fun season.
Well, listen, man, I'm gonna tell you this. This is their University of Nebraska Omaha coach. If y'all listening and watching this, you guys picked up an excellent guy. Very credible all the way around. I've been knowing the guy 6, 7, 8 years here. So I'm just telling you that he's definitely a proven warrior. Like, he's definitely a warrior. Like, I can tell you, if I can't tell you absolutely nothing else, is that he will not give up. He will not quit. He's definitely a 1,000% warrior. And you can definitely push on this guy. So make sure you push on him for all the kids that he had to beat up. No, I'm just playing. Push on this dude, man. Make you suffer. No. But listen, dude, I appreciate your time. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you relaxing or either getting yourself ready and stuff, but I do want to say thank you very much for sharing this opportunity, man, giving us 1 hour of nothing but wisdom and a wealth of knowledge around the process of positioning ourselves for the next level.
Yep.
Go ahead and you could tell everybody how they can get at you if they want to, kick it or some knowledge or anything. You got social media, anything that people can, touch base with?
You can go to my Instagram page with secret_is_work. Just, you could DM me. You can, whatever you want, I can talk to you. I talk to everybody. If you want to know something or have any questions, you can contact me on there, or they can get with you. You can give them my number. I don't care. I don't care how it goes. So you can. I'm here. I'm here.
Sweet deal. And I just want to let everybody know also, if you do follow him, man, on his Twitter account, The Secret Didn't Work, he definitely puts up a lot of great videos, man, that you can provide to your kids, your young ladies, or the young fellas out there that's doing some basketball, footwork, up fakes, down screens. I mean, this guy literally on his downtime is like crazy, right? Because he should be relaxing, but he's not. He's like literally putting together these. And these are not no cheesy videos. These are like phenomenal videos that this dude is putting together. But of real time putting yourself in real time position to be a great scorer. That was probably one of Daryl's biggest thing is heavy defense and having multiple ways to be able to score. So whatever you do, check out those videos, man, because he definitely have a wealth of knowledge that he can share with the kids. You know what to do. This is the Manology Project podcast. Definitely, follow us on all the social platform. You can actually get at us on all of the social platforms as far as reaching out for the podcast. I'm also going to upload this video to my Manology Project YouTube channel so that we can continue to keep this rotating through rotation here. Just share it, everybody, if you can, man. Hit that share button. This is good information, positioning our kids to make it to the next level with Mr. Daryl Hudson, the assistant coach over at University of Nebraska, Omaha. And we are out. Peace
Thanks,
out.
man.
Thanks,
man, for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
And last thing, for anybody out there, your job is to inspire and give, man. Give and inspire. You do that, hey, we're in a better place.
Man. All right, big bro.
All right, man.
All right, now.